Hi everyone, I'm Pablo. I'm here to present this new course brought to you by Zemba, HTML5 Mobile Game Development for Beginners. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for joining us in this exciting course. I'm not going to ask you what it is that brought us all here because I already know that it's just love and perhaps addiction to video games. You like them so much that you also want to make them, which is awesome. So we really hope that you enjoy this course as much as we've enjoyed making it. Well, what's required for this course? We are assuming here that you have basic knowledge of at least HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, why is that? Because we're building in HTML5, which is basically all those technologies, especially an intensive use of JavaScript. What we also suggest is not really required, but I think it will make your life easier in this course and as a game developer as well, is to get into the basics of HTML5 canvas and some of the other new stuff that comes with HTML5. Also, it'd be really good to know the basics of object-oriented programming, basically what a class means and inheritance, because we'll be using some of that. There's another tool that we think you should know, which is Git. It's used for version control, so that you can keep track of the changes in your files. And it's also used by Lime.js. I think I'm going a bit too quick there. Let's just move on. Well, we'll be making these games in a JavaScript framework called Lime.js, which is basically really cool. It makes life a lot easier. If you've had a try with just without any framework, and then you get into Lime.js, you'll realize that it does accelerate the game development process. Now, something about it. It's open source. It's easy to use. It does have a bit of a learning curve, not too steep. We'll go through all the basics so you can get started and skip this hard beginning and get right into game development. It is powerful and efficient. Now, why is that? Because it's based off another open source library called Google's Closure Library. You'll be hearing a lot about Google's Closure Library or just the Closure Library in this course, because that's what Lime.js is based off. This library is used in huge web applications such as Gmail, Google Docs, Google Calendar. But at the same time, it's built in a way so that it's simple to use and it also works for small projects. Now, I'm sure most of you are not really thinking of making a huge game, but the thing is, it also makes life easier for smaller projects, and if your project ever gets a bit bigger, you'll be able to escalate a lot easier than if you were just doing it on your own without any framework or without a framework that has this potential. Lime.js also has a really friendly community of users, so that's good. If you get into it, you should totally participate. And it helps you create games that are portable to all devices that support HTML5. It takes care of things such as resolution, orientation, and well, of course, it's efficient, so that's also good for mobile. Now, your system requirements, because you have to install this Lime.js in order to develop with it. The end products are going to be just HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and well, images and sounds and whatever other assets you're using in your game. But you still need to run a few commands to develop in this framework. So you have to install Git whether you want to use it or not, whether you know what it is, whether you care. You don't really have to care. You just need to have it installed. Git SVN Python 2.6 or greater. That's good news for Ubuntu and Mac users because their operating systems already comes with Python, so they just have to install those two. Now, the installation process varies according to the operating system. So I've split the next lesson in 3 different presentations. One is for Ubuntu users, one is for Mac users, and the other one is for Windows users. After that, I'll be just using Ubuntu, but it's going to be basically the same. The installation is just a bit different, and I think that everyone deserves a chance to learn and to get it installed properly. So yeah, you just choose which path you want to go into. But basically, it's just the same in gross terms. You have to download the components that I just mentioned, download the actual framework, and install it using command line. Then you create your project, new project using command line, and you get started. Now the folder structure is like this. You'll download and install Lime.js, and then inside of that folder you're going to have a bin folder. Inside of that bin folder there is a lime.py file, which is the file that you actually run to create new projects, to update your projects when you add new files into it, and so forth, and to compile your project once you're finished, so that you get a reduced version of your files, a minified version that's a lot more efficient. Then there's a folder, box 2D. This is because Lime.js, I forgot to mention this before, but it uses another JavaScript library called box 2D, used for physics simulation. Think of games such as Angry Birds or Cut the Rope. There's different objects that have weight and velocities and gravity. Well, this is the library that takes care of that. Then we have the Closure library, which I already mentioned. It's a library created by Google, used in huge web applications such as Gmail, and we'll be using that. Then there is, well, Lime. That's where the actual Lime.js resides. And then for each game project that you create, you're going to have one folder for it. Now, what's next? We'll install Lime.js and create an empty project, which won't be really empty because Lime.js will put some sample data in it. But you have to choose the lesson that corresponds to your operating system. And before we move on, it'd be great if we can hear from you in Facebook. That's our Facebook page. There's also Twitter, which I mentioned at the beginning. It's Zenva Tweets. I'm gonna write that down so that you don't forget. And we would like to hear about what kind of things you like, what kind of things you don't like about this course, and which topics you want to learn in our next course. Well, that would be all for the first lesson. See you soon.